Hello dear viewers, and no, my armpits aren't hairy yet, therefore you do not have to guess or put some nasty comment down below. Anyways, in today's video I'm gonna exactly explain you why and how our minds operate in those different situations we encounter ourselves on the daily basis. In other words, what state your mind usually steps into when you are reading the book or working on that assignment, and what kind of mental area you are in when you feel that everything is flowing perfectly and nothing or anybody are able to stop you. Thus, yeah, I simply. Why did I start speaking Ukrainian immediately? Probably because it's my native language, perhaps. Anyways, right now I am still in that logical gear of my mind, and even though that's extremely cool for developing cool apps and specifically designing things in your life, creating plans, being disciplined, etc., when you are performing, that's all about being present and allowing the faculties of your mind to totally manifest themselves via your abilities to expression yourself, or rather some things you have installed in yourself, either voluntarily or I don't know, by proxy, as it often happens. Anyways, what we have is that I will disappear for a moment. What we have is two main things. It is, I wanted to name them mastery and presence, but I'd rather say skills and performance. Let me explain you on the instance of this particular video you are watching right now. So basically I am binging all those videos on how to become a better storyteller, how to express more freely in front of the camera, how to not get fully stuck when you have eyes on you, and all this kind of things. And whilst doing this, I must admit, I'm also doing 100 other things at the same time, even though I'm not Caesar, but I don't mean salad, I mean that emperor from the past. I am in a sort of logical space in my mind. In other words, when I am listening again, except doing all other kind of stuff simultaneously, which is actually bad, I am listening to that video on how to be better storyteller, how to be better communicator, speaking in front of the crowd, etc. Whilst I'm doing this, I am rather in that if-then circuit wired part of my mind. Meanwhile, whilst I'm talking to this camera, I am more and more stepping into the gear of relaxation and non-thinking. Not completely presence, because presence is rather state of non-thinking in itself. Meanwhile, whilst you are also performing, it is it's actually a state of euphoria for me and for every other person who is doing masterfully something whilst not being trapped into the thinking. In fact, that's a mutually exclusive phenomenon, because in fact you will never achieve top level of your possible performance when you are anyhow in this part of your brain. I mean, surely you've gotta study yourself and your habits as much as possible, and perhaps for someone going loose completely will end up in some sort of inappropriate situation. I mean, probably you'll find out that you are throwing some really, really unacceptable, commonly in the society, jokes, or you know, you are becoming too overtly sexual, or what else? Or you're speaking like unbelievably loud. Even though I highly, highly believe that that's the biggest joy one can have in his life, is to let go of all those constraints and simply be yourself. I'm still sure that that's quite important to be able to navigate through society and stick to certain rules. I hope you got the message I sent at that particular moment. In fact, your best performance is going when you are, I think that's the correct word for this, when you're in flow. That's when the genius kicks in. However, I must tell you that even though quite often they say that mostly, by the way, social skills and communication, it is mostly about unlearning things, such as don't be loud, don't play with the pitches in your voice, or I don't know, do not move your body somehow weirdly in the frame, etc., etc. Even though I think that's actually the biggest ROI activities. They take the biggest amount of actually some pain to go through, but those will really, really bring you the biggest amount of progress you can possibly imagine right now. Nevertheless, let's be honest, top tier, that's when there is a great deal of real wisdom, experience, and nerdy knowledge somewhere over here or wherever is their hard drive stored and located in our awesome brain. And what I would love to recommend myself and any person who is watching this video is to try for yourself to really go totally childish in the situations when you are supposed to be serious. So perhaps on the business meeting, which is not deciding the future of yours and your family for the next decades, but something a bit more chilled, maybe some discovery call, just go nuts and start throwing weird jokes. Or if the person you're talking to is of the opposite gender, or you are, roundabout, you understand the opposite to the usual kind of road, then you are able to start flirting whomever you want to flirt with. Essentially, just change the gear in your brain in the situation where you are commonly supposed to follow certain guidelines and way of expressing yourself. So, literally go in that inflow state. I think I will do this. Act nuts in the how to say it, in the usually strictly ruled situations. Pardon for my probably not the most convenient way of formulating the thoughts. However, you got the gist of what I'm sharing with you now. And additionally, probably for those, if you're watching this kind of video, believe Just trust me. You are so much here. You are so much here. You have no context for this. However, if you, for some reason, think that you are too much in flow, so basically, unicorns, blah blah blah, then do the other thing. Then you should. Oh gosh, I hope it is still in the frame of the video. At least my right shoulder is. Anyways, well, I will just, for those who are programming will understand, I will just say that it is variable how oh fuck my poor fingers, my poor long fingers. How? Well, no, actually I have a small palm. That's true. That's for you. No, actually, that's the correct way to define it. Is the correct word orderly? Did I just make it up? And anyways, yeah, that's what it's gonna look like. Yeah, and in case you are wondering whether these are horizontally flipped, like 90 degrees rotated, drawn by the little autistic kid birds, or these are curly braces, then the second option is correct. Yeah, we really optimized it. So basically, if you are in this state of mind when you are totally logical, then act nuts in the situations where you are supposed to be strict, and I am too lazy to, and this board is too freaking small for me to write down the other variant for if you think that you are in flow, well, in other words, all over the place all the time, then even in the situation when you are supposed to like have fun with your friends, take out the phone and read some educational article. And even though everyone around is like going crazy, having fun, you are having fun in your own way. Yes. And eventually what we are striving for, what is the ultimate goal of ours, is to populate our skill set with both of these states at our hand, so we are able to access either of these states just wherever we want, whenever we want, and wherever we want, in fact. So I assume that at first you must go through the, well, step zero. Step zero. Am I mostly logical or all over the place? after Elon Musk finishes his brave and very ambitious venture, we will be also all over the space, but you do not have to laugh, but you should press the like or dislike button based on how amusing you found this joke on the scale from 1 to 47. And at first you define whether you are mostly in your day-to-day life in that very dense, very confined headspace, or on contrary you think that a bit more structure in your life would definitely help you out. Then, based on these things, again, you see it's still if-then logic. It's all Python, and I'm not talking about snakes. In fact, you just then go with either being nuts a bit more often times, or as opposed to that scenario, you go a bit more strict about behaving and presenting yourself throughout your existence, even in the cases where you could be a bit more chilled. And this will also serve the other very, very great thing for you. In fact, what it is gonna be is your ability to get that, micro enlightenment, which will point you to the one of the biggest strengths you possess. Especially if you are male, because female nature is rather wired to be reactive. So basically, if there is freaking wind, then I must feel scared in order for me to move. But if I'm the man and I'm on the hunt and there is a wind, well, it sucks. Probably it would be better to kill other living animals in the more pleasant weather conditions, but I just acknowledge this and go through. So what I'm going to say is that your emotional state doesn't fully depend on the exact circumstances you find yourself in. And this is then magic, because you realize that right now that's up to you how to construct those cases you find yourself throughout the day in. So even if there is some calm and rather formal discussion in the library between group of friends of yours, or maybe even some strangers, you are now able to start generating from within those emotions of playfulness, relaxation, total merging with the present moment, and then you start literally being contagion, because people are attracted to this like moth to the light, and eventually you see that everyone around is like more rather chilled, and in the large language models, so basically all the things behind ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever AI tools you are using, there is a model, there is a parameter which is called temperature, and what it is in charge of is when you are specifying this parameter at the level of, let's say, 0.1, then it goes totally logical. Though when you set it to 1.7, for example, I guess the maximal value is like 2, then it goes all over sealing the place, just like the planets in the whole galaxy, without specifying the exact sphere and the shape of those space bodies. So I don't know, I just played around a bit with my own generation machine, so I can convey the idea I'm trying to transfer to you a bit clearer and through different railways of communication. And let's wrap it up with the second, but the third, if we take the whole length of our steps list. Instruction, it is that right now, when you have strengthened the particular state which you used to be not that comfortable to be in, you are training to do the following. I won't say a word. Now only real G's who have attention span of at least 10 seconds are over here. Finally, right now we can define the last step of the sequence, which tells us that we are now consciously training ourselves to go into the widest range possible, whenever we want, whenever we can, or even sometimes, actually, the moments when we learn the most, when we cannot, when we aren't able to do some absolutely and seemingly unbelievable switch in that or some other moment. Here we start training the other thing, not our behavioral pattern or the congruence of our acting in that or the other mode of being. No, 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 totally wrong. Now we are training this part. Now we are training this witness, which is essentially our prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of, setting the, how is it called? Flag. That flag on the ship, and the way you set this flag at the beginning defines the direction in which your vessel will be moved towards. And here we are training that flag. I guess that's what's that object's name, and we teach ourselves to get in charge of setting that flag in the direction we want it to be. So we either end up learning for the other 3 hours because we are totally in the logical, relaxed state, or we are speaking in front of the camera for, no way, it's already more than 20 minutes without even thinking about it. Or the best thing is that after I finish this video, I will go back home, and even though I will still have this pleasant tickling after being totally in flow, totally free-flowing, I will still be able to shift the gear. I don't know how to depict the movement of this arrow, but you guys have the imagination. I know. And I go back to the more logical state. So in the next video, I can throw more interesting metaphorisms at you. I don't even have any suspicion or clue where this exact weird word came from. And that's the exact awesomeness of being in the state of flow. Leave in the comment section what kind of mode you think you are mostly being in throughout the day. Probably you can extrapolate a bit, specifying that when you are at home you are more logical, for example, or in flow, or when you're with your bodies you are just total jerk, in other words, in flow, alpha male, yeah. And when you are studying, especially something you really find boring, you are absolutely logical, judging what the heck is happening, why I'm doing something I don't want to do. No, the joke is gonna be racist. I'm gonna abstain from it. You see, I was going to say something really offensive, but my logical part allowed me to move my flag of what is the neural pathway I can take in my brain, and I went to a bit less polarizing scenario. Believe me, this video would have got like strike immediately if I said that thing which I was about to say. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, press the like button, or do not. I don't give a freaking thing. Anyways, that's a great pleasure for me to have you watch this far, and stay awesome.